Welcome to the 30 Days of Prayer Day 1. Um, this is me, like, not just fresh out of bed, about an hour out of bed, but not, um, I like to get a lot of work done before I actually sit down or, like, take a shower and stuff so I don't lose momentum. Um, so you get me like this today. Um, Here in my little prayer spot, there's some of my artwork from around the world, and I'm sitting in my pretty chair. And I've got, see, the puppy over there hanging out with me in the morning. So, um, yeah, just normal stuff. So before I get into my reflection stuff, I wanted to talk about a couple of housekeeping things. Hi, Amy. One is, don't forget to grab your worksheets and stuff that is now on the pinned post. So check that out. Two is, don't worry if you don't have your book or you're not going through the book. What matters is that you're praying, and so whatever that looks like for you is good. Hi, Lindsay. Good morning. And three is buddies. Um, so there's still a few people, maybe just one at this point, who doesn't have a buddy yet. I'm waiting for more people to express that interest. If not, you get me as a buddy, but I just want to make sure that everybody is served well with a buddy. So hopefully by the end of the day, we'll have everybody worked out. So I'm sorry if I missed you. I was sort of getting comments all over the place, and I tried my best to track them, but I just have to trust that the Lord knows what He's doing with bringing all this attention to me. And if you just said that you were going to the event, I didn't count you. I needed you to comment. So if you'll do that, I'll make sure to make sure that you get a buddy so that you have your accountability and fun stuff like that. Because I've got like 70 accountability buddies and you guys, so that's really exciting for me. Okay, so day one. Do you guys like day one? I hope that you took some time. Maybe you haven't chatted with your buddy yet. That's totally fine. I think I'm also leaving it up to you and your buddy how you want to be accountable to one another, whether that's daily check-ins or weekly calls or whatever that looks like for what your schedule and your comfort level. That's totally up to you all. I think I was just sort of, it feels like I was randomly matching, just because there were just so many people, and many of you I don't know super well yet. And so I was really just kind of like leaving it in the Lord's hands to just sort of like guide me to like names to pair. So just know, hi, Shirley. So glad you're here. Anyway, so that's up to you and your buddy. I'm not going to dictate any particular way, because I think that's going to look different for everyone depending on your needs and your desire there. And I'm sorry if I have to keep switching arms. My tripod is weird and I don't know, my phone won't let me film sideways. So anyway, I have to hold it for now. Anywho, yes, Lindsay, I'll get to know everybody better throughout the month, which I'm really, really excited about because I think this is going to be a special way that we get to know one another. Hi, Teresa. Okay, so my reflections on day one. So this whole thing started because I realized that I was not doing great with prayer lately, and I think that's because I had a wrong attitude toward it. Like, part of that is that I'm just an active person. I'm a doer, right? I'm not a beer. Like, I don't just sit and be. And so like prayer is hard in that way because while it's active in that you pray, a lot of times the outcomes are only somewhat controlled by you, right? Like, you can do the work, and I guess the illusion is that you can really do anything, right? Like, everything is sort of dependent on the Lord in that way, and so we get caught up in doing the stuff that we know that we can do or should be doing or would be doing, and really, even all of that effort is a waste if the Lord doesn't want us to have that. And so, yeah, so I guess that's what's really hard sometimes about prayer is that it doesn't feel that active. So anyway, I think that's why I've struggled a little bit. So that's why that sermon that I heard from my pastor and then just getting this idea. I think that's really what drove this. And so that's why I really love that the first day is about prayer in the book. In fact, the part that really spoke to me today was, it said, I pray my prayers would not be empty words that I repeat just because I know it's good to do, but that I would believe with all my heart that prayer to you, the one and only true God, is a powerful thing. And when I have a tendency to make prayer like rubbing a magic lamp, draw me back to your truth. And I think that's kind of where I was. Like, I was in this, like, well, if I pray for this and I do all I can do, of course God will do it because he called me to this and it's going to work out. And so I do believe that because he called me to this, he is in it and it will work out in the way that he wants it to work out. But I think I was trying to make it work out according to my definition of working out, and that's not always what God wants. And so just trying to hold loosely the results, right? I think we talk about this in coaching a lot, right? We talk about like working for it, setting your goal of the outcome, but like sort of holding loosely all that stuff in the middle of how you get to there. And that's not something I was doing very well. So I'm not practicing what I'm preaching. Hi, Candy. Hi, Pam. Glad you guys have joined us. So I think that's really what struck me today. And then the verse that really spoke to me was Philippians 4:6, when it talks about don't be anxious about anything, but pray about everything. And that's sort of my paraphrase. But I think that's also where I am, is I've literally had a couple of mild anxiety things. If you know my story, anxiety is just part of it. And so just remembering that when I'm in that place to say, like, God, I know that you have me, let's sort of work through this. And so that's really been part of that. But then I got to this point today, and I'll read a little bit of what I wrote. So in the reflection part, the questions, it said take 15 minutes and write what God reveals to you about himself. So I wrote a bunch of words that just sort of came into that, like my portion, provider, protector, healer, in control, cares, present, bigger, stronger, worth it. And then I also wrote power behind my being. And then I was just sort of like, had this sense of peace, and had a moment when I literally wrote, like, can I just sit in your goodness today? Like, can that just be a thing? Can I just rest at your feet? I'm weary, I am anxious, I need grounding and healing, and I need faith more than fear. How do I do that? And so that was really where my heart was this morning. Was there was just a moment when I just wanted to actually like sit in that feeling. Like, have you ever had that when you pray or have experienced something and it sort of touches you and you're just like, can I just sit in this feeling all day? So, I think I am going to a little while longer. I don't know. I am pretty sure I will get restless in a little while and not want to do that anymore. But, I think it was just sort of a nice moment to have in the middle of like this weary and anxious place that I am in. So just know that. Amen, Pam. Yeah, anxiety can incapacitate you, like you said. It certainly did me. This time last year was just like a mess. So I'm in a much better place. It's still a struggle, but we're still moving. So, as I just sort of like worked through that, I asked, like, how do I do that? And then I wrote by stopping trying, by like not striving anymore, like you just kind of, and to me, striving is not, it isn't just doing, right? I think there is a certain part of our life that we have to do things. We can't just sit and let God do everything. Like, I don't think that's how he created us either. And so I think that it's really just about stopping doing things for the sake of doing things, stopping doing things for the sake of just trying to move forward and get through it. And actually taking time to rely on God. That doesn't mean that you can't make decisions without hearing something clear from the Lord. I think He has given us a sound mind, self-discipline, all those things that we are capable of making those decisions. So remember that. I don't want that to be an excuse for you, like, oh, well, I haven't heard clearly from the Lord about this. Sometimes that's just not how it works. But to not just be doing for the sake of doing, to be doing for purpose, and I think that's what we're really here for. And sometimes when we do without purpose, we work against Him, and that's not really what we want either. So I just kept writing like things that are true about His love. Like, His love is here. It will not let us be broken. His love repairs, and I can trust it. And then that's when I wrote down like my specific requests for this experience. Because like I said in my video, I guess it was a couple of days ago now, I want you to pick like at least 2 very specific things. I wouldn't go more than 3 or 4 because I think that can be overwhelming. But things that you're praying for specifically for your business. Like for me, I've got some open client spots that I'm praying over that the right people will show up for, and for my financial provision, like just to be steady and me be at peace in that as I step out of my 9 to 5 at the beginning of October. And then just that I would serve well in whatever capacity He wants me to. And so, or in whatever capacity I'm needed. So those are my specific requests that I'm praying over this month. And I would love to hear yours if it's something that we can pray for too. So I just, or that you feel comfortable sharing. I just wanted to encourage you to treat prayer like communication. It's not like you're ordering at the drive-thru. It's like you're talking to your dad about your life. It's like you're talking to your best friend about your life. It's like we really do have that kind of access, and that is so rare. I feel like in religions, you don't see that kind of access really ever. So I think just letting yourself open those lines of communication and being open and honest, and like even saying, like being honest about your failures, guys, that's really hard. I think even with God, I want to sort of like be tidied up. You don't have to be. That's what's great about prayer, is that like you can just come to Him as you are. So I want you to do that. When you pray, come to Him as you are, be open, be honest, be real, and ask Him to help you through that. Like, if you're struggling with some belief in something, belief in yourself, with confidence, like confess it and ask for help, because He will show up. So that's really what I took away from today, was just to rely more on the Spirit and not relying more on the Spirit and not on my own ability, but also to find peace in all of that. Lindsay said, one thing I've grown accustomed to is not asking God to provide clients so that I can pay bills, rather saying, God, I want to share my gifts with clients in a real way, and please provide for my financial needs, without linking the two. Yes, Lindsay, that's great. And that's kind of why I separated two, because to me, they're linked together. But the great thing about God is that He can provide in any number of ways, right? Like, I'm just trying to think of the time that my husband lost his job. We were provided for right in time and the exact right amount of money. And that came from a part-time job for me. But that sort of like got through bills, and that didn't come through food and stuff. But we were just provided for by people in our community, or other money that just sort of came in that we weren't expecting or didn't do. And so I would just say I love that you separate those two, because they can be different. Like, to share your gifts with the people who need them, and then also just to be financially provided for, and that can look any number of ways. So it's holding that, like, the how loosely, knowing what you want, knowing what God has said He wants you to do, and then holding loosely the how, so that you're ready to move and flexible in whatever that looks like, because you never know when He's going to call you to something. So and you just got to be ready to move. So being flexible with how you see yourself in your life and God providing, because that's how we get like miracles, right? Like is by not putting God in our box. So that's what's really exciting about this, is that we don't have to put God in our box this month. This month we're taking him out. And that's even like one of the other lines. I pray that you would work outside my little box of what I anticipate from life. That was like the next line from that paragraph that I read. And so, yeah, don't fence him in. It's not going to work because he's going to work outside, and it allows you to see how he's providing for you outside of that too. Okay, I think that's all I have to say today. I am really looking forward to seeing your reflections. So please, you can comment here, you can comment outside of here, in the feed. There's the hashtag you can use if you want. I need to turn off the normal things that come out. We will have a feature Friday tomorrow, because that was planned ahead of time, but there won't be any more for September. So just know that. And yeah, that's all I've got for you. Thank you guys for joining. We had like 7 or 8 people on here. That's like my biggest live stream ever. So way to go, guys. Way to be up and at 'em and praying this morning or this evening, wherever you are. And I can't wait to see how God is working in you like he's already worked in me and just like this morning. So talk to you guys later.